Hi, my name's Steve. Welcome to another Mindbomb Training video. Today's subject is why you need more than one income, and not just for entrepreneurs. Today, really, this advice could be valid for lots of different people. As the effects of the pandemic actually roll out on the economy, then there's obviously lots of businesses that have been badly affected, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are feeling the effect on their own jobs and businesses and hours cut and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's very tough, I think, for a lot of small business owners at the moment. But to be honest, this actually goes a lot wider than that. When I started writing this subject up, I was just really thinking about my own normal market of the small entrepreneurs. But in truth, anybody out there that might be watching that's struggling with their own work or in a precarious job and worried about the future, then I think it applies for right across the board, really, for most people. So yeah, why people need more than one income is a serious topic at the moment. If you think about it, just for a moment, think about the situation when you first start work. We go through school, university, all that kind of thing. And then you get to work and people say, pick a job and pick a career. Make sure that you follow that particular path. And the truth is, nobody really talks about the long-term potential outside of that. It's all about one job, making sure that you work hard, focus on that one job. And the truth is, it's actually quite a risky path to take to do that. If you were talking investments, the first thing is, if ever you went to see an investment advisor, then the first thing they would do is to diversify that risk. If you were fortunate enough to be able to go along with a lump sum, then the reality is that you talk about putting it into various different assets to try and generate a return across a wide range of different things. And to me, that's really how we should be looking at the career path. I think maybe people at the other end of the career, to me, the millennials, are actually seeing things slightly differently. I think there's a lot now that's talked about with side hustles and additional sort of portfolio careers, and I think that's important. Maybe it's intuitive, maybe it's just the fact that they perhaps feel more precarious in their positions, that the youngsters in the business world seem to be more flexible and willing to actually adopt that approach. But yeah, it's important for everyone to certainly think about it. In fact, for a lot of people, it's actually worse than not being directed into that one income. But what makes it worse is the compounding effect of we then leverage that income against houses, against cars, holidays, general borrowing for new kitchens, whatever it is. Then we actually make it worse by leveraging the effect. So we commit so much of that one income to monthly expenditure, and it is so difficult to actually adjust that mindset. But if you can get away from it, if you can actually create a second or even a third income, then that's really important. And even if something then goes wrong with the core income that you have, at least you have something to fall back on. That's what this is all about. And yes, providing that bit of extra protection, that shock protection, which can make a big difference for you. But you might say, Steve, how on earth am I actually expected to do that alongside trying to put everything into my new business? I'm trying to work as hard as I can, make sure that I've actually got everything prepared for the new business launch. How am I actually supposed to think about a second income? Well, there's a few things that you can do, and I'd say, firstly, start as you mean to go on. So if you're in a job working for somebody else and thinking to start a business, then hang on to that job as long as you can. Even if it's with the agreement of the employer that you can actually wind down over a period of time, or maybe even just go part-time in that job while you're actually setting up your own business. maybe act as a consultant so that you're getting occasional work from them. So yeah, what I'm saying is don't cut your ties, just start as you mean to go on. If you're starting a new business, then try and hang on to the existing job as well, wherever possible, I would say. My second bit of advice is a long-term one really, and is thinking about passive income. So at the risk of sounding like a pension salesman, really you've got to start early on and think about building a passive income over the duration of your career. It can be a 20-year, 30-year process, but the more that you can actually put in on an earlier basis, the better that is going to be further down the line. So I'm not really a fan of, certainly in the UK, our existing auto-enrolment pension schemes, but there's other things that you can do. You can actually build ISAs. There's other savings schemes that you would actually be able to build over a longer period of time. And the thing is to think about starting early. You might not be able to put much into it early on, but the earlier that you start, then the better that would be. Point number 3 is, again, an investment tip really. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. So the way that you would actually think about building up the passive income, so it would diversify really to spread the savings. But it's the same with other income for your career. If you can actually build income from not only passive income in savings, if you can build something from a third-party business or maybe a freelance business on top of your regular business, think about diversification of the risk in terms of the income that you have. And again, it's very, very difficult when you're starting out. But I would say just keep that in mind, and when you get the opportunity, it may even be buying into another business or something that's totally separate from your key business. And tip number 4 is about property. Consider property. I've known lots of people in the retail business that seem very keen to expand their retail business without becoming their own landlord effectively, without buying their own properties. I think that's really risky. If you're able to build a property portfolio alongside the business of whatever it is, so much the better. I know it can be really, really hard to get that first step, to be able to get the deposit together in on a popular location can be really tough. But if you go the extra mile, you can do it. It is possible. Have a look into pension arrangements. Having said earlier that I'm not a great fan of pension plans, you can actually buy your own property or even another property through a pension plan if you look into it. So it's possible. You can actually do it. And in fact, there is actually an old Chinese proverb which says that any small business that doesn't own the property isn't in business. And I think there's some truth in that. I think it certainly gives you that degree of security if something happens to the trading part of the business. Just thinking about property for a moment, other people actually go down the buy-to-let route, and any money that the business might throw off from time to time might give them an opportunity to invest in buy-to-let property separately. I think it's quite difficult, certainly in the UK, because obviously you've got to take income out, so there's considerable tax implications if you're going to withdraw money from the main part of the business. But if you get if you're fortunate enough to get other lump sums from time to time, then it may be possible to build something up that way. And certainly it's a good way of, a good store of value, as they say, a good way of actually keeping some investment to one side. So point number 5 is about side hustles, all the rage at the moment. As I referred earlier, the millennials in particular seem to be very keen on side hustles, but it's true. I think if you're going to diversify your income, it's a great way to do it. Use your existing skills, but to present them differently and to find different customers. Whatever you're actually good at, if you can find a way of developing a side hustle, it's amazing nowadays with the technology that we have. You can actually do all kinds of online business, and it can be done from anywhere. So you don't actually have to think in terms of just office hours. then things like eBay, Amazon, all that kind of thing, you can actually run from your phone from anywhere, and then be able to pick the orders of an evening or even over the weekend, whatever it may be, and you can build a business that way. But yeah, side hustles definitely to be recommended, and it may be a way of starting out in order to be able to build the pot of money that you then need for maybe a passive income stream or an investment in property or whatever else it may be. But certainly have that as part of your plan. You should actually have a side hustle built in to make sure that you can diversify that income. Finally, I know it can be really difficult to look at longer time frames, but I would actually encourage you to think in terms of a long time frame when you're thinking about your business and business career. Then too many people think about just what's happening in the next few months and what they can actually do now. But the truth is that not many businesses, the statistics are not great, not many businesses are going to last out the sort of 10-year or even 20-year time frame. So whilst business might be fantastic, and I hope it is, if you're going to plan over that longer period, then good for you, and I hope it's a great business and you enjoy what you're doing. But think about even the relatively short term impact on what might happen with that business. So over a sort of 1 to 3 year period, things might be great, but then everything may change. That's one thing I have learned over the last 20 or so years. The environment changes for business, and competition can change, supply, all of those things. There's all sorts of things that might actually impact your business. And really, if you think about the longer term, what you've got to do is develop the transferable skills, develop the skills that you can move on to another business or into a side hustle or whatever else it may be, to actually generate an additional income. So make sure that you can actually think longer term rather than just into the next 6 months of the business now, how you can actually develop that longer term plan. So that's it. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, then please click on the button down there. And thank you. I'll see you next time.